In this presentation, we will be looking at the research that was conducted for academic purposes through an online-based survey with participants 18 years or older living in the US in regard to their levels of concern. The survey will be analyzed, and throughout the presentation, a few topics and research questions will give insight and further knowledge into the relationship between the ongoing global pandemic and the usage of Airbnb compared to hotel accommodations. The research questions that will be discussed are: how has consumer confidence in regard to the use of Airbnb changed between the months of March and December 2020? How has consumer confidence with Airbnb changed in comparison with other relevant sectors such as hotels, as well as which groups of respondents we recommend in the near future and why? Key findings that will be discussed throughout the presentation include how Democrats are more concerned than Republicans on average, how individuals with full-time employment are less concerned than those working part-time, and how psychocentric and allocentric individuals have a past of different levels of concern. Another key topic in this presentation includes the concern level between Airbnb and its counterpart, hotels. The presentation uncovers which individuals are less concerned when staying in hotels as well. With that key finding, we talk about age groups and their level of concern, as well as key findings such as how older generations and consumers prefer hotels over Airbnb. With changes being made to the hospitality industry due to COVID-19, it is important to understand the target demographic for the future and in the recommendations and implications as well. With that being said, this presentation should hopefully uncover information regarding why Airbnb should target young male mid-centric consumers if they want to increase market share and revenue. We found from extensive background research that findings were all over the place and that there was no consensus online. Majority of the findings from information that lies outside of the survey conducted focuses on the supply side of the issue and doesn't focus on the consumer demand and behavior like the survey does. Moving forward, we recommend making decisions for target demographics based on the key findings from our survey analysis. Now moving on to methods used.
Here in the graph, considering the coronavirus had concerned you be about staying at Airbnb, we can see that from the months of March to December, there is an increase of being less concerned. This could be because people are more informed and more procedures going on to protect people from the COVID-19 pandemic have been implemented. Now, when comparing employment status here, full-time against part-time, we can see that full-timers are less concerned about the virus. This could be because they may be traveling for work or maybe distressing out of work, and they are more at being they're more likely to be less concerned about it, while part-timers have less responsibilities and don't really need to travel for any other purposes than vacation, so they may be more concerned. Now, when comparing age groups 18 to 30s to 61 plus, we can see that 61 plus are more concerned. Now, again, this is because they are more at risk of being dangerously affected from the virus. So they are more concerned. When comparing allocentric and psychocentric to mid-centric, we can see that mid-centrics are less concerned about the virus. This could be because they have a little bit of both and they want to stay in an Airbnb. They're adventurous, but at the same time, they want comfort. That's what Airbnb offers to them. When comparing Democrats to Republicans, we can see that Democrats are more concerned, and this is because their political behavior is they are more likely to believe in the virus and think of their safety first, and yeah, that's why they're more concerned. When looking at hotels versus Airbnb, we compare age, and we see that 61 plus age group is more likely to stay at a hotel. This is because hotels right now have more procedures going to protect people from the virus than Airbnbs. And when looking at 18 to 30, they're very close to each other, so we cannot really tell. So 61 plus is not a group to look at right now. Um, when comparing psychocentric and allocentric, they are very close to each other, but they still prefer to stay at a hotel instead of an Airbnb. This is because of what was mentioned before. In the levels of concern in this graph, we can see that the least concerned group is mid-centrics. Right here, they're the least concerned from all of them, and 18 to 30s. So this is the group that we are gonna be recommending going on.
So for our statistic data collection, it's clear that the consumer of all ages, both male and female, have become more confident about like staying in a hotel or MBB, although there's don't have too much difference between those two of them. So as our client Airbnb nearly future target we will suggest be the young male libertarian middle centric consumers. And within the improvement of the epidemic, almost all respondents are more willing to travel and have less concern about like staying in a hotel or Airbnb. So especially for the young people, Airbnb can bring some more freshness for them, and it's also like well in face of the people from the Libertarian Party, they are more looking for the freedom. So those group people are more likely to travel. And considering the middle-centric traveler, they dislike including like so many strange activities or experience during their travel. We suggest that Airbnb should work with like some other service companies like Uber Eats or Lyft to demonstrate a more human service model than a traditional hotel. Like um, provide some tour package that including accommodations, meals, and transportations. And also Airbnb as our client. Um, they need to improve their awareness of safety and health management of all their hosts, and as well as should reduce the tourist perception of risk and improve the platform's accommodation safety guarantee so as to reduce the concern of consumers and increase the consumer sense of security in the future. And that's all for our presentation.